Good afternoon, Mayor Neil Dwyer here. I wanted to take this opportunity to show the folks we're going through a dredging project here on the South Pond. And there's been many questions about it, and I'd like to see if I can't put some light on it and get the folks to understand what it is that we're trying to achieve here. So we have two ponds. We have the South Pond and we have the North Pond. The South Pond was our first plan of attack because of the size of it and the fact that it goes out to the waterfall. So we figured let's start right here. It's a bit narrow in certain spots, a bit wider out here. So that's what we're doing. These ponds were actually developed by some really forward-thinking people over 100 years ago, actually. Roscoe Smith, Alfred Crane, and other men like them and families participated in creating what we now know today as Crane Park. And to do that, they framed in the waterway, which was really just nothing but marsh back in the day. So the ponds themselves have taken a lot of silt into their beds and have risen the water level up quite a bit. So our goal here with this dredging firm is to go down to the gravel base and to vacuum essentially all this material up, put it into a pipe, and then head north stream up to the North Pond and into the North Field, where I'll show you in a few minutes what we're doing with the material that's being collected from down here. So the goal right now is that dredging machine right there, which looks nothing more than a gigantic snowblower with an arm that goes down to the gravel bed, and then they begin a suction process and they feed all that material through the pipes. So this is an ongoing thing. I suspect they tell me somewhere around Christmas they should be done, hopefully, barring any major issues here with freezing or otherwise. And then we'll head up north here and we'll take a look at that and I'll show you where all this material is heading to. Okay, so where we just started out on the South Pond where the vacuum is happening, that material is being pumped up. It comes up along the waterways. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a big 6-inch or 8-inch pipe down here that just continually works its way all the way up, and in the distance you're going to see what looks like these gigantic balloons blowing up. Those are what we call the socks. That's what we've dubbed them, the socks, because what they're doing is they're collecting all this material and the water is being permeated out through the sock while retaining whatever solid material is inside the slurry that's being pumped up. So I just thought you'd all like to see this. I mean, these ponds are absolutely beautiful. They're the jewels of the village of Monroe. And we want to make sure that we give the best shot in bringing the clarity to the water, the depth, which is what this is all about, bringing the water deeper. So we retard some of the weed growth, and because we're being hypercharged with all the geese and all the poop and everything else that's in this village coming into these ponds, this will help keep that down, the weed material. Okay, so continuing our tour, I've taken you from the point of entry of the material on the dredging boat, brought you up to the North Pond, all the piping that comes up here. That piping comes up along through this pipe right here, and it goes through a manifold, and it introduces in separate ports to each one of these socks, as I said to you. These are actual permeable boxes, if you will, and they look like socks almost. And as the material goes in, it settles into the socks, and as it's doing that, at the same time, if you can almost see it, the water is bleeding out of the sock. That water, all this material now comes out, basically cleaned of all the impurities that it sucked up from the south side. It comes out along here and it runs into perimeter troughs, bringing all this material water back into the pond. We're reintroducing it, and that allows a great process. So we're capturing all the water that's being taken out, putting it back in. It comes out quite clean, actually. And all this bed, all this area out here was all prepared for this exact purpose, just to allow this process, because everything has to be pitched toward the pond. It has to have these troughs off to the side, allowing this water to come in. And this just goes on the entire day while they're here. And they rotate the different socks. So there's 4 socks here right up now. 2 of them are on, 2 of them are off. You see the two socks that are taller? Those are the active duty ones right now. These 2 right here have been shut off while those 2 are operating. When they get to their capacity, they'll stop using them. At that point, we have, across from me here, you have 4 more socks that are rolled up. Those 4 socks will be introduced next week, and that'll continue the process of bringing this material out and introducing it into the socks. And what's happening here will happen in this playing area right here. And this material will remain here, they say, until March. And what it does is it continues the dewatering process, where these socks right now just feel like a bowl full of Jell-O. They'll compress as the water gets pushed out, going back into the pond, and what's left inside of this is all the silt material that was brought into the socks from the pump system from the dredge. And as I said earlier, these ponds have never been dredged. They're essentially over 100 years old and they've never been touched. And now the water level is very shallow. So we're going down to the gravel bed, and that will introduce more depth, better quality water, less weeds, and a better environment. We're hoping to actually begin maybe having activities out there on the ponds, maybe kayaks, who knows. It'll be a lot of fun, but as I said earlier, these ponds are the jewel of the village of Monroe, and we want to see them restored and kept in a way that for many years people will get to enjoy them. We have so many visitors every day walk around these ponds. It's just amazing, just amazing. So that's the continuation. If anyone has any further questions or any concerns whatsoever about the process, what's happening here, I'm more than happy to reach out to me at 845-782-8341 or www.villageofmonroe.org. You can also email me at mayor@villageofmonroe.org. I'm open to any conversation. I can meet you here on site if you have any questions or thoughts or comments, or you just want to talk about it. I'm in for anything, okay? So I hope this gave you some perspective of what's going on here, and I appreciate your time and attention to this. Thank you.